The definition of the word murder and homicide is the unlawful killing of a person. Unlawful being against the law, so yes, that does technically mean that Hitler did not murder anybody. He killed a lot of people. The Holocaust most certainly did happen. If you say otherwise, I'm just going to block your stupid ass. And what he did was absolutely wrong. But that does not mean that it was murder, because the definition of the word requires it to be unlawful. And the word person, that's a little bit more difficult to define, but I'll give my opinion. A person, I think, is somebody that has the ability for consciousness, for higher brain functions and stuff, and that is an individual in that they don't require the biology of somebody else to live. In my opinion, a Siamese twin is one person with two brains. Now, prior to 24 weeks, the fetus doesn't have the ability to think at all. And in fact, the nerves that are responsible for feeling pain don't connect to the brain until 20 weeks, and their ability to perceive pain doesn't come until 30 to 35 weeks. 90% of abortions happen within the first 12 weeks. 64% of them happen within the first 8 weeks. So fetuses most certainly don't feel pain when they're being aborted. At least not the vast majority of them. And because a fetus is not aware and doesn't feel pain, that means that they don't really care about what's being done to them. It is other people that care about what they don't care about. That is the definition of virtue signaling. The very definition of virtue signaling, and the pro-lifers are all about it. And why is it that a full-grown adult is not entitled to a house, but a fetus is entitled to a woman's uterus? Right? Even if it's in the winter, a landlord is able to evict somebody, even if they have nowhere to go. And most conservatives are absolutely okay with this, right? Well, if you can't pay for it, then don't get... But if it's a fetus in a womb, it's completely different logic. Completely different. They feel that the fetus is entitled to the woman's body. That her body, her choice doesn't apply if their part of their body is the uterus. And some people will argue, well, okay, maybe it's not a person, but it's a potential person. Therefore, because they have the potential to become a self-aware sort of, person, that we should give them the exact same rights that they would have in the future. But where's the logic in that? Should we give a 5-year-old the ability to sign mortgages and drive a car because they are a potential adult? It doesn't work that way. That's a bad argument. Come up with a better one. And why is it that conservatives think that the black market will only exist for guns? Do they not realize that the black market for abortions will still exist? In fact, they exist now. You can get abortion kits on eBay because you won't have to register it with any kind of insurance company or anything like that. All right, black market abortions exist now. How much do you think they're going to go through the roof if you make it illegal? People in Texas, because there's only 2 abortion clinics in Texas now, people in Texas are going to Mexico to get ulcer medication because it creates miscarriages. Just think about that for 2 seconds. And why is it that conservatives only pretend to care about the baby before it's born? Why is it that after they're born, they don't give a shit about it until they reach military age? I know that's a paraphrase of George Carlin, but it's fucking true. Right? If there's a single mother living in poverty, conservatives don't want to help that person. They don't. And yet, they pretend like they're the ones that care about children. No, they don't. They care about forcing a woman to give birth. And that's about it. And some of the hardcore people think the life begins at fertilization. But if that's true, then should we divert a bunch of medical research towards preventing a woman from flushing out fertilized eggs when she has a period? Because sometimes she does, in fact, flush out fertilized eggs when she's on the period before they implant. would that be considered manslaughter, or what should we consider it a pandemic? Most pro-lifers, however, thankfully don't think that fertilization is when life begins, but some do. And others will use their religion as a reason to sort of oppose abortion. But how many parts of the Bible has God ordering people to cut open the wombs of women? Right? When you have these sort of city-states that are warring with each other, the Bible commands them to, cut open the wombs of women. In other parts of the Bible, it says that a baby is not worth anything until they're a month old. The Bible contradicts itself a lot on various issues, including this one. You'll need an external interpretation in order to make the cherry-picked parts of the Bible that you want to be what the Bible says to actually be, what it says. Catholics do that a lot, if you have a sort of external interpretation of it, and other people of other denominations do it a lot too. But try reading it without all that external interpretations, and you'll see quite clearly all the different contradictions of the Bible. Hi, if you like this video, please rate, comment, like, share, and if you feel like it, buy one of my shirts. That'll be in the link in the description below. The car on the desktop background there is one of them. Take care.